Live from Great Eagle Resort and Casino, it is Calgary's entertainment destination. But we're heading to beautiful Montreal now. TSN's John Liu joins us for a little NHL Draft preview, the NHL free agency preview, and probably a little CFL as well. John, you saw before the break I talked about how excited they are in Calgary over free agency. Let me ask you about Montreal having the number one overall pick and hosting the draft this year. What's that town going through this week?
Well, you know what, Rod? I get the sense that it's going to be a real party here this week, considering that this has been 2 years in the making. It's been delayed for 2 years because of the pandemic. And so the tickets for the draft were sold out in very short order. And so there are people from all over the continent, probably from all corners of the world, coming into Montreal this week to take part in the draft and for the party. And considering how big the Canadiens fan base is and how far-reaching its arms are on a global basis, yeah, people want to come here for to witness what happens on Thursday night when Kent Hughes or whoever announces the first overall pick, first time since Doug Wickenheiser back in the early 80s. So this is going to be a very momentous occasion. I think a very fun week, and the weather's supposed to be really good too. Nice and warm and sunny from Wednesday all through the weekend.
I'm sorry, you lost me at Doug Wickenheiser, my guy, the greatest Regina Pat ever.
Of course.
We could go on all day about that. But hey, I'm seeing the coverage of this. Nobody knows who the Habs are going to take, and it's interesting. You know, there's a little drama around the number one overall pick, and this regime, they say, keeps their cards very close to their vest. John, it's an entirely different regime from 2 years ago. What are they like to deal with for you? New coach, new GM from the last time they were supposed to do this.
Well, you know what? Kent Hughes has been nothing but a consummate professional. And I mean, that's not to say that Marc Bergevin wasn't, but two very different personalities. But Kent Hughes he's very transparent. He gives us in the media very quality information and answers as much as he's capable of doing. Although having said that, as we've gotten closer to this very crucial time of the year, information has been a little bit... it's been kept more in the vault. And so actually, as soon as we've done this segment, I'm jumping into the car, heading off to the Broussard practice facility because Kent Hughes is talking at 2 o'clock Eastern to the media draft preview. Don't anticipate getting much in the way of concrete information. The one thing that I'm really interested in is, have they actually made their decision? Because there's been so much debate, fierce debate, and actually vitriolic in some ways, back and forth over within the fan base, within the media about should it be Shane Wright or should it be Juraj Slafkovský? We're talking apples and oranges in terms of the type of player and experience and the capabilities, their development paths thus far in their amateur careers. And so the Canadiens could go one of two very different directions, but I don't anticipate that we're going to know until Thursday night, even though Bob McKenzie, for instance, the scouts that he had polled for his draft special last week had basically tilted the scale in favor of Slafkovský, whereas Craig Button, who just did our TSN mock draft show a little over an hour ago, is still sticking with Shane Wright. So again, it's it really depends on which path the Canadiens want to shore up in terms of strength down the middle or getting a little bit bigger and skilled on the wing. Both are areas that they need to address. But which one is the greater priority? Which player do they see as holding more upside, more potential in that in either of those regards? We won't know till Thursday night, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. 72 more hours of speculation and debate, and we shall see.
I was going to ask you who the fans want, but basically I'm getting from you that they're split on that, which probably shouldn't be a surprise.
Actually, the majority of the fans want Shane Wright. That's been the buzz right from the very beginning when the Canadiens when they stumbled out of the blocks at the start of this. It was really a terrible season. It was heading for disaster of epic proportions, of historical proportions for the Canadiens had they not made the coaching change. And no disrespect to Dominic Ducharme, but they needed to make that change. And so really the sense that I've gotten from the fan base right from the start is that they wanted Shane Wright. Although having said that, there is a segment that sees great potential in Juraj Slafkovský. I just hope whoever gets chosen gets the requisite amount of respect from the fans in attendance. That if it isn't their number one choice, hopefully there aren't any boos or negative reactions, because that would just be really a classless gesture. So let's hope that they keep it, supportive for whoever it is that's chosen at first overall, because this is going to be a momentous occasion. But having said that, there's a great deal of pressure on Kent Hughes to make an impact in the midterm and long term with this, because this is going to be his legacy pick, his first draft choice, just like Alex Galchenyuk was for Marc Bergevin 10 years ago. And people are always going to remember that here. Fans have very long memories here, and they're not very prone to forgiving either if things don't go the way they like.
Buddy, let's go back 42 years when the Habs fans booed the Habs for drafting Doug Wickenheiser over Dennis Savard. I don't want to talk about it. With the number one overall pick, you could go with a goalie. The Habs could go with a goalie, or do they need one? What's the latest on Carey Price, John? Do you have an update?
Well, it's in a holding pattern right now, Rod. Carey went for an injection of PRP, platelet-rich plasma, a few weeks ago. And basically, they're just waiting for that to sit, take hold, take effect. But the fact is that there's no way for the Canadiens and Price to determine to what extent he's going to be able to resume playing hockey at a high level until they get to training camp and the preseason, or perhaps even the start of the regular season, for him to actually be in live action, adrenaline pumping, having gone through his training regimen in the off season, getting ready for the season. There's just no way of determining at this stage what he's going to be like come the fall. And so everybody's waiting. Price is waiting. The team is waiting. His teammates, management, the fan base, everybody's waiting. And basically all we can do is if you have a vested interest in the Canadiens, you're crossing your fingers and hoping that Carey Price will be able to resume playing at a level that is suitable, not just to what people's expectations are, but his own expectations, because he has said, he's been on record since he came back to action and speaking with the media, said that he doesn't want to be a burden. He wants to be able to play at a level that is acceptable to him. But what that exactly will be, we don't know. We got a slight glimpse of it when he came back near the end of the season in the handful of games that he did play. But having said that, he did feel the effects, the negative effects physically from having that long a layoff, from the rehab and then playing. And so there were a lot of ominous signs, and Carey Price has been very upfront about the uncertainty of his short to long-term future. And so we won't get answers for a while yet. But having said that, to sort of address your question about goalies, Rod, no, I don't get the sense that the Canadiens are looking to draft high as far as a goalie is concerned, even though they have 14 picks in this draft. They might pick up a prospect because they have so many draft choices this year. But having said that, they're looking at other areas of the club as priorities for what they're going to choose higher up.
I know you got to go. We only got 30 seconds, but is there a blossoming quarterback controversy with the Als, Trevor Harris and Vernon Adams, or is this a nice tandem the rest of the way, do you think?
In an ideal world, it's a nice tandem, Rod, but you know what? The Alouettes are on a bye week. I think the number one question for everybody coming out of that bye is who is going to be getting the first team reps in their first practice on day one. We're all going to be watching for that, and whether that turns into a quarterback controversy, so to speak, hard to say. It really depends on if somebody takes the reins and runs with it. If somebody does, whether it's Vernon Adams or Trevor Harris, shows that he is able to sustain success, then you don't have a controversy because you have somebody that is taking the ball and running with it. But for now, we haven't seen anything but slightly inconsistent results.
John, drive safe. Thanks for the time. Have a great week. We'll be watching closely.
My pleasure. Thanks, Rod. Take care.
TSN Montreal's John Liu.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.